In association with Official Wrestling comes A Few Good Marks podcast.
And welcome to A Few Good Marks. I'm your host as always, Kieran Moran, and I'm joined by Candy,
Hi,
Pete,
hello,
Croft,
hello,
Alex.
Hello.
Hey, you did it this week. Well done.
This week.
This week. Shit, do that sound in the background?
Oh, we tried this months ago, Kieran. It didn't work then. Leave it alone.
So moving. Okay, fam. Never mind. So today we're talking.
You just get shit in there.
So today we are talking UK wrestling. This is a podcast that we've done once before, but the audio wasn't great on it, and now we've also got an extra person, and also somebody I think had left at this point that we'd done it. Somebody else wasn't there. So yeah, we're doing UK wrestling. I want to start off by talking about the UK talent. That is probably the biggest thing that's going on at the moment. The reason why so many eyes are on the UK at the moment, the wrestling scene, is because the talent is phenomenal and is making names for themselves all over the world.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Outside of WWE, yes, Alex.
Does it not annoy you that everywhere you go it's the same people main eventing, and it's so hard to get your foot in the door on the UK
in the UK scene?
Because they just want to book this. They want
I'd agree with that
all the time.
I agree with that. There are very few places that are giving opportunity to young up and comers unless you train at the gyms.
Yeah.
Or you've proven yourselves. Yeah, there's not a lot of places that are giving it whatever. But then I guess this can be solved in a number of ways, which I'll come to in a bit. But no, I agree with you with that. However, going back onto the talents that are being used, not to have a go. The outside of WWE, there's names such as Marty Scurll and Will Ospreay, who are all over the world. Liam, go and have you go at Will Ospreay now, because I know you're dying to.
He's on my card.
Oh, amazing.
I still hate him.
Will Ospreay's sort of growing on me.
I just don't like. Do you know what?
He moans like a fucking bitch, don't he? He's just he moans.
Dude.
I do hate the fact that his selling is just fuck me arm. It's like, oh, you could just try selling properly.
It's not Will Ospreay. It's the idea of Will Ospreay. It's
not Roman Reigns. It's the idea of Roman Reigns.
It's what I see him as, which is the embodiment of not wrestling.
Of flippy shit.
Of flippy shit.
Of showcase.
Of showcase wrestling. It's the one. Do you know what? It's not even Will Ospreay that I hate. It's the one spot he does with Ricochet. And that's all I see him as. But aside from that, like, he's had good matches. Like his match with Drew McIntyre at WCPW was a really good match. So it's not that. It's just the exaggerated bits. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's because he does the flippy shit with Ricochet, and he does that by himself in a normal match, and that's the thing that really annoys me.
Yeah.
Just that one backflip into the ring.
Yeah. There's
the Dragon Ball Z pose.
Yeah.
Just stop it.
Obviously there's the UK lads being used in WWE as well. Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, tore it up at Chicago earlier this year.
He did.
Trent Seven, who I don't really rate.
He's alright.
I quite like Trent Seven.
I get my water from Seven Trent.
Thanks.
Do you know, it's not even that he's bad, it's just that he's upstaged by Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne.
Yeah, I'm just it's not that I don't rate him, it's just that I've not seen a match of his that I've thought, yeah, this guy's actually really good.
He's just not in the same league as those two.
Yeah, he is overshadowed hugely. And then Wolfgang, who's being used predominantly in WWE NXT at the moment as well.
He's really good.
I've liked Wolfgang since I first saw him in ICW. A boss wrestler, really good, really agile for his stature as well. I've not really got much else to say on UK talent. The most thing I really want to get to is the next two bits, which is the impact that UK wrestling is having on the scene and on the wrestling scene around the world. First thing I've got is best training schools, which you guys go to. A very acclaimed training school, likes of Rick Rogers, Tom Pritchard, and William Regal have all praised Andy Baker for what he does at RWA. But then the flip side to us having the best training schools, there's obviously, there's guys who come over here to learn the way, stuff like that. Two names from overseas who've made a name for themselves over here is Tony Storm and Travis Banks.
I know one of them.
Yeah, who's Travis Banks?
Travis Banks, he's the current Progress champion. He's from New Zealand, but he come over here and made a name for himself. I'm not sure if I think he was already a wrestler when he came over here, but he's gone through the motions and he's got amazing. But then, as I say, the flip side to having the best training schools is that there are also a lot of people who just open up a random training school with a guy who's been wrestling for 2 years and then expect to be producing good wrestlers.
I could rant about this, but I'm not going to.
No, go on. This is what this is for.
Go for it.
You don't have to name drop anybody. Just
I'm
go
not
for
going to
it.
name drop, but what annoys me is when Max.
I'm not going to name drop, but.
When Max.
Oh,
who
I thought you said Max.
Who have never took a bump in a wrestling ring in their life and have only ever watched WWE and a few shows in and around their area, and they decide that they can run a promotion and they think that they know what they're doing.
We'll come on
They
to
really,
this.
really do.
Save this rant.
But yeah.
Save that rant. Well, I mean, you've already kind of said it, but we'll come on to this because there's a promotion who, we'll come on to it. But yeah, the impact. We've got the best training schools, as I've said. We've got the best talent, arguably, for all round. I guess Zack Sabre Jr. did working wonders in New Japan at the moment as well.
Just faced Tanahashi for the IC title.
Yeah, absolutely.
I say it was late September.
Yeah. Might have scored the first British talent in the Bullet Club, which are a now globally recognised brand, which is also really impressive. I know it's not strictly British, but it's really impressive that a brand has gotten that big for outside of WB to have gotten as big as they are. I'd also say probably put on the best indie shows in the world. Croft, I want to throw this one to you because a couple of weeks ago we were talking on our group chat, and I posted up there's a local promotion, won't name drop them. I was like, does anyone want to go to this? Mm-hmm. And yourself said, I don't really want to go because I don't follow the indies.
Yeah.
And I'd like to ask why.
That was pretty much said more to get a rise and as a meme. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
But no, there is some truth to it. Just because wrestling, how I see it, and it was the stool.
Yeah, what's the stool?
The wrestling that I
Didn't
enjoy.
queef again, did you?
Fuck's sake!
Amazing.
UK talent.
UK talent, folks. Alexis Falcon.
I'll never get booked anywhere with Gay.
That is now your gimmick. Croft, you were saying?
Yeah, the wrestling that I kind of enjoy is the overproduced, hype, mainstream kind of wrestling. It's not that I won't go to indie shows. It's more that's kind of the wrestling that I enjoy.
Fair enough. Yeah, but I'd like for the points you made. Obviously, now you said to get a rise out of me, which you obviously did. But the thing with most UK shows, they do very much like what ECW accentuate the positives, hide the negatives.
Okay.
The lighting productions, some shows don't even have lighting changes or anything, or flashing, they don't have any light shows or anything like that. They'll just have a music or very rarely we'll have a video screen. But that's not what the British scene is about, really. Granted, once, it adds to it, obviously it does, but the British scene has become about phenomenal wrestling and
I
family
think
entertainment.
it's really cool that British wrestling has its own style, compared to America and stuff like that, like British wrestling is its own like established style. Like Chris Package Sharp came down. I don't know if you've
the ref guy,
the referee, and he was saying to me how it's really weird that the Brits have their own style of wrestling, and then when they take it to America, like the Americans try and do it but don't quite hit it because it's the British and that's the American way of doing it, and it's just completely different. But
I remember in an interview I did for my dissertation with Dave Taylor, and Dave Taylor was just saying back in the day they all came here to learn about it because it was the best, and obviously now it's gotten back up to that reputation.
I think it's really indie now though. It used to be like real old World of Sport style and like real like.
I think that's just
school,
the nature of the way it's
really,
gone.
Really
that's just the nature of wrestling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone copies each other, and everyone's kind of that indie. Don't know what I'm looking for, but that indie style mentality in America has kind of found its way over here, whereas we're making, which it needs to be, because I mean, it now means that professional wrestlers in this country can make a living in this country and don't have to travel the world to do it. They don't have to travel as far, which is quite good given that we're a small island.
Even in such a short space of time as well. I remember watching the Finn Balor 24 special on the network, and he was talking about going to Japan to find a niche and find success, and the fact people can do that in the country they were born now and don't have to travel the world for it, like you say, in such a short space of time, because that was just over a decade ago, less than a decade ago, even that Finn Balor did it. And the fact people can make a name for themselves over here now is a really good sign. They don't have to spend all the money.
It's only really been since the start of the decade that this has all really started to kick off. There's been promotions that have been going for longer, obviously, and that have now gained the more fan numbers or changed their style a little bit given the current scene. But yeah, it's all kind of kicked off, and I completely agree with you say. The only other point I've got on the Impact is that we have got the best scene in the world. People want to come here to wrestle, they want to come here to prove themselves. We've got promotions, which I'll come on to in a bit, that are willing to bring over big name talent, which the fans want to see. They're putting them into big matches with our own guys. And speaking on promotions, we'll come on to it. So, on the subject of promotions, I want to first talk about Progress, who announced at the show not this Sunday before, again, whatever, or a couple of Sundays back, whenever it was, that next year they will be in Wembley.
Oh, right, okay.
Like SE Wembley.
News.
Huge news.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Like ICW have done the Hydro for last year, and they're doing it again this year. But this would be this is Progress putting on Wembley, which is huge. Huge news. Like spread like wildfire across the across Facebook, across the internet. So first thoughts on that?
Do you want to go? Is it sold out yet?
I seen on pre-sale like recently.
It's just they went on sale today. Yeah. General sale went on today. I have every intention to go
because it turns UK wrestling from what I think a lot of people traditionally see as a small thing in small arenas, small venues, to this massive spectacle as in like American wrestling, and it shows that UK wrestling can be that big spectacle.
This is my. We haven't been to Wembley, have they?
Apart from NXT.
92.
So that was SummerSlam. That was Wembley Stadium. This is Wembley Arena. So this is where NXT had been to it before. But I think WWE.
Big deal.
It is a massive deal. It's an absolutely huge deal. And the layout that they've got, like I think the lowest, and I think like it's £35 for a ticket. Like that is amazing.
Yeah, that's really
the tickets are all dead cheap. Actually,
35, but that's like after. I think the first row was like 65. The next 4 rows after that were 55. Yeah, for the rest of the entire place, £35 a ticket.
A few good marks does Wembley.
Once you head here, folks, we're going. But I think it's interesting what you say that British wrestling can get there. I don't think it was ever a question that, obviously I think we can do it. British wrestling has done it before.
Absolutely.
Like Jackie Pallo and Mick McManus in the 70s, selling out Wembley. It was like the biggest thing at the time, it was the biggest rivalry going. Like, you know, British wrestling's been there before. It's crumbled. We're getting back to there now. But at the same time, I want this to be like a WrestleMania type thing. I want big shows like this to happen once a year.
Yeah,
and I want the rest of them to happen in smaller venues, in like they have been doing, because that is the atmosphere and the ethos around British wrestling, and I think that's what needs to continue. Other thing that needs to, if on the subject of evolving with British wrestling, is there's been a couple of things breaking over the past couple of weeks about British wrestling companies getting on TV and getting TV deals. Like Hope Wrestling has just got a deal with Fight TV, and shout out to Harvey Dale, really nice guy. And really happy for them guys getting on Fight TV. I really hope they do well with that. But then it comes to this company, 5 Star. Has everyone heard about 5 Star Wrestling?
Yes.
You've been to one of those shows.
Yes.
So the one at the Echo Arena?
Yeah. It was last year, I think it was.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
Mysterio was on the card, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. AJ Styles was. It was just before he went to WWE.
Fair. Well, I've done a podcast with Steve Saxon on the iSax podcast a couple of weeks ago on 5 Star and about the owner. Now, Alex mentioned before about fans thinking they can run a wrestling show. This guy is the epitome of running a wrestling show without knowing any knowledge, thinking, I can play booker. This guy created 5 Star. This guy's called Daniel Hinkles, by the way. Created 5 Star Wrestling to promote his video game. That is the exactly. It's just I didn't find that out until I did the podcast with
Who's
Steve.
wrestled at 5 Star?
There's, granted, you know what? They've had some big names. They've had like Johnny Mundo. They've had Rey Mysterio. They've had AJ Styles. Nick Aldis. They've had PJ Black. They've had big names, right? And fair enough, if you've got the money to do that, then that's fine. But this guy's essentially trying to create the thing I don't
How
agree
do you know this?
because I've done my research.
Oh, right, okay.
just saying. I've also done. I said this was
Have
a
you
lot of this
spoke
was
to
on.
him in person?
Not Diana. No, right. Basically, this all comes from when the news about 5 Star Wrestling broke that they were getting a TV deal with. I think it was called Free Sports UK. They were getting a TV deal with this thing. That caused a lot of uproar because...
Is that recently? What,
Yeah.
PCW got cancelled?
Yeah.
Right, okay, yeah, I'm with you now.
So that when the news broke, a lot of people were like, right, hang on, well, they don't deserve this thing because they don't represent British wrestling. They've not put the graft in. They're not really representing British talent. It's a load of bollocks.
It's just throwing money at it, isn't it?
Just money.
Essentially, it's money marks, exactly. And so Steve did an interview with this guy back in June. If you want to go and listen to it, we'll drop a link in the description. I'll also drop the link for the follow-up podcast, which I was on. And this guy's just, I mean, like, I probably should have told you guys to go and listen to it because this is what I'm on about for a good part of this video. But yeah, this guy, he just comes across as, he just thinks he comes very close to comparing himself to Vince McMahon.
Ooh.
Exactly. Comes very close to comparing himself to Vince McMahon. Like they were talking about, this is the guy who reportedly, and I think he actually did, offer CM Punk $1 million to come back and wrestle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I heard about that.
This is this guy.
That's that guy.
This is this guy,
Oh,
Daniel
he's a
Hinkles. Isn't he just? His reasoning was, well, yeah, he'd come back and fight for Vince McMahon for $1 million. Why wouldn't he come back and wrestle for me for $1 million?
Because you're not
Because you're
Vince McMahon.
fucking nobody, mate.
Because he's a fucking nobody. It's an absolute disgrace, to be honest. And I said this on Steve's podcast. I'll say it again. If these guys put on shows around the UK, if that could be him, I've never seen his face before.
Yeah.
If these guys put on shows around the UK, if they get a show on TV, for the love of fucking Christ, go out and spend your money on real British wrestling. shoot from the heart for that, because I've not spent a year of my life researching British wrestling for this guy to come along and shit all over the hard work that everyone else has put into it.
What was it they cancelled? Didn't they cancel?
They cancelled the recent tour as well.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
that's
Steve was asking him about this, and then he went off the record. There have been rumours. I feel like I can go
In
and say this.
June, they had El Ligero, John Morrison, Carlito, and Rob Van Dam, and Moose.
Yeah, Moose and
Moose
stuff like
is
that.
insane.
They cancelled it. I feel I can say this. Whatever. There have been allegations that the reason he cancelled this tour, not allegations, that's the wrong word to use. There have been rumours that the reason he cancelled this tour was because of the Manchester bombings. They are the rumours that I've heard through the grapevines. Whether that's what he. There was a part.
That wasn't that his official reason. Wasn't that? Didn't he come out and say that?
He might have done actually.
I feel like I've heard that
You've seen
before,
that, fair enough. But there is on Steve's podcast, Steve asks him this question, and he pulls the off the record card. Steve is the only person who has heard the reason he gave during that interview. Steve hasn't released at the time of recording this. Steve hasn't released the footage, that recording bit of whatever. But yeah, I just want to rant on 5-star because what a fucking cunt. Also, your belt looks fucking awful.
It does. I've seen the belt.
It's fucking shite.
Was that the first C-bomb on A Few Good Marks?
I hope so.
I don't know. I've been drunk on.
Yeah, that's true. We may have dropped in the first one.
SummerSlam as well. So.
We did hungover SummerSlam.
We did hungover. Oh no, I feel like a few
3 hours
dropped
sleep.
the morning up.
3
I
hours.
think we have called John Cena a cunt on the show.
Anyway, I want to move on to. I want to praise, like, from slandering one British company, I want to praise another to ICW, because ICW ran a show in Newcastle this past weekend, and they had none other than Cassius Ohno, NXT's own Cassius Ohno, on the show.
That's pretty good.
A huge step in the right direction. ICW have obviously got a working relationship with WWE at the moment. There's a lot of talk of ICW's shows being put onto the WWE network. They've got and same with Progress as well, I believe. They've got the production values to be good enough. And I mean, I'd like to see it as long as they're getting a decent amount of cut for it. Because it deserves the worldwide recognition, and especially them putting a current contracted WWE superstar. I mean, how many times has that ever happened? A contracted WWE star has been loaned out to an indie company.
Well, Pete Dunne's now on TNT, isn't he?
Very true, Pete Dunne. Actually, yeah, that's true. The UK WWE, but apart from the WWE UK guys,
Yeah.
it doesn't happen very often.
I mean, and when it is, it's seen as a massive spectacle. Like, do you remember when TNA and WWE did the swap for Ric Flair and Christian for a night?
Oh,
Like, that was massive.
Yeah.
And because it just doesn't happen. You don't swap stars from WWE to smaller promotions. And the fact that it's happening now, people are more open to it, especially in the UK scene. It's really good. And they're stepping the right direction.
Absolutely.
So,
On that note, the WWE UK tournament has only elevated half these guys. Like Pete Dunne has gone around the UK doing a superb name for the brand. Apparently put on a phenomenal match against Travis Banks, who we mentioned before. Progress Chapter 55. It's just a really good time to be a British wrestling fan, and I encourage everyone to go and find your local promotion and go and support them. One last thing before we move on as well, I want to kind of address the news that came out of What Culture Pro Wrestling yesterday.
oh dear, lads.
Did anybody see that meme where it was like, it reminds me of that time when everyone walked out on Triple H? That's like what's happening.
It was five, basically.
Apart from Simon.
Apart from Simon.
Why?
Adam
Does anyone
Blampier,
know
Adam
why yet?
Pacitti, Sam Driver, King Ross, and Jack the Jobber all walked out. I mean, I would imagine it's either because, I mean, there was another guy who came out who was a former What Culture employee and just said that the boss was a dick. Which, fair enough. I mean, if that story is true that he told on Twitter, then fair enough. You would not want to work for somebody like that.
I feel like the reason they're doing it, and I've said this in the chat as well, I think they might What Culture started off as it was already a big thing on YouTube, but the wrestling thing was quite new.
It grew to be its own thing.
It was massive. It was potentially bigger than the original What Culture.
It was. Yeah, I'd say
it had its own promotion. It was very commercialised, and the guys who'd been with it since the beginning, like Pacitti, like Blompier, probably, but they might have had kind of like a view of this is more than what I signed up for, and they might want to do something more simple.
Yeah, but all of them at the same time.
Because I mean, and then Blompier came out on Twitter late last night and said and released a logo which was a C and a 5. Mm-hmm. No one knows what that means yet, but people have said that it means the Cultured 5. Obviously, there was 5 of them that left. Yeah. They were What Culture. They're now the Cultured 5.
Do you reckon it's kayfabe?
Well, it wouldn't be like them to make money off other people's hardware.
No, but this is the thing. I mean, like, the thing is, I actually fully support them leaving. The 5 of them, Sam is the one who puts all the videos together. He's probably the best editor. And then the other 4 of them are arguably the biggest...
the biggest names,
The biggest names. And they've made a name for themselves and they've gone through the motions. And, like, they are bigger than What Culture... The wrestling channel.
They're bigger than the brand. Their personality, Blompier especially, is bigger than the brand.
Absolutely. So I see no reason why. And if you've got a boss who treats you that way, and also they want to focus on wrestling, that's obvious, and they're being made to do other What Culture lists that they don't really want to be doing. They want to be focusing on wrestling. Fair play to you lads. We'll see what happens with the promotion. I think What Culture announced that they were going to be announcing a new general manager. I don't know who that's going to be. Probably be Simon.
Oh, Jesus.
It wouldn't surprise me, actually.
Simon Miller Pro Wrestling.
And on that note, let's move on. So what we decided to do to round this up, just for a bit of fun, we've decided to create our own all-British Dream Wrestling card. Mm-hmm. There was only 3 of us that managed to do it.
Just to clarify, can this be from any era?
Yeah. Yes. I said yeah. I said on the message any era.
So mine
I said any era. So Croft, you got yours ready. So when you're ready.
Okay, starting from the bottom to actually I might go. Yeah, I'll just do them in any order.
Okay.
I've got Magnus v Big Daddy.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. That's an interesting one.
Magnus is a big dude. Big Daddy was also a big dude.
It's a big dude in a different way.
So I think it'd be interesting.
Fair play.
Big Daddy in his prime. Not,
Yeah.
Not
now. You mean when it from his grave?
Bone Daddy.
Resurrected Big Daddy.
Oh, Big Daddy.
Neville v Will Ospreay.
Yeah, good shout.
It'd be good, if
Flippy shit all over the daft.
It is, but it would be done well.
I get fucking motion sickness watching that.
I know Neville knows how to sell, so...
Yeah.
British Bulldog v Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Sounds good.
They're similar build, similar kind of style.
Yep.
Pete Dunne v William Regal.
Ooh.
In his prime.
Well done, son.
Yeah, that was my one match.
Well done, son.
Yeah. No, it wasn't.
It fucking was.
Go on.
My tag match is Wade Barrett and Nigel McGuinness v Dave Taylor and Fit Finlay.
Yeah, cool. Like it.
And my main stipulation match is Tyler Bate v Zack Sabre Jr. in a TLC match.
Cool. Very nice. Candy.
Yes. I've kicked off with the tag team match, and I've got Dave Finlay with his son David Finlay taking on Davey Boy Smith and his son Davey Boy Smith Jr.
Fair play.
Amazing.
Match 2, Pete Dunne versus Tyler Bate, the rematch from TakeOver.
Yep.
Match 3 was I had a few guys and I just wanted to stick them all in together, and we had to have a stipulation. So I've got a 5-way ladder match between Neville, Marty Scurll, Drew McIntyre, Wade Barrett, and Nigel McGuinness. And at the top of the ladder is a briefcase, and in the briefcase is a Groupon voucher for a 2-for-1 roast dinner at Toby Carvery.
I don't think you can get any more British than that. Hang on, I'm just ordering mine because I've realised I've not...
You're putting in that stipulation, aren't you?
Bastards.
Stealing it.
Weatherspoons on a pole match.
I'd say
My 4th match, I wanted a women's wrestling match, so I've got Paige versus our very own Alexis Falcon.
Yay!
Thanks.
Match 5, I've also gone with a flippy shit, but I've gone generational. I've got Will Ospreay versus the high flyer of the 80s, Dynamite Kid.
Very good.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
And then finish off, main event, British wrestling match, William Regal versus Zack Sabre Jr.
Hang on. Why are you main event?
It was between you and Regal.
Rude. I'm only messing. Thanks for including.
And Regal bribed me, and you did not, so you lost out to Zack Sabre and William Regal.
Okay, I would have William Regal versus Jack Gallagher. I'd have Johnny Saint versus Zack Sabre Jr. None of you know who Johnny Saint is, do you?
No.
We got a seminar with him.
Good.
I have no idea.
Liam doesn't. Go and watch some
You're a
Johnny Saint.
disgrace.
Go and watch some Johnny Saint on YouTube.
Ah, well.
John, just literally, mate. It's
Is it in black and white?
no, it's in colour.
I feel very attacked right now.
Nah, do you want to hear the best flippy shit match of all?
Yeah.
It is a
It's Will Ospreay, no?
5. It is a 5-way match between Will Ospreay, Bubblegum, El Ligero, Neville, and Mark Andrews.
My eyes.
Mark Andrews, yeah.
There'll be no selling in that match.
No, whatsoever.
Yeah, flippy shit galore. But I mean, it'd be amazing to watch. Not gonna lie. What's next? Number 4, my stipulation match would be a death match between Jimmy Havoc and Jack Jester.
What's a death match?
You watch Japanese wrestling.
First one to die. I don't think Japan have had a death match since Mick Foley, Terry Funk.
CCW. Yeah, death match is just like an ultra hardcore match.
Rules.
Is it C4?
Yeah.
And a turnbuckle match.
Yeah.
More light tubes and Lego and shit like that.
Barbed wire ropes and all that kind of stuff.
Match number 5 would be the British Bulldogs versus British Strong Style.
Oh, I like that.
And my final match would be Pete Dunne versus Drew McIntyre.
Interesting one.
UK champion versus NXT champ to round off. Also, if I had to put our 2 resident wrestlers in a match, it would be a mixed tag team match.
Yes.
With Azazel and Alexis Falcon against Lana Austin and Mikey Whiplash, because that suits the both of. Because I feel like both of them suit you quite well. Mikey Whiplash especially.
I would put Azazel against Marty Scurll.
Oh, that sounds good.
Marty, if you're listening,
Mike, if you're listening, get in touch with RWA and make it happen, son.
Make it happen.
That has been mostly me ranting on UK wrestling for about half an hour, if that. But
Give me a lot of matches that I need to go away and watch, apparently.
Yeah, you need to get involved in UK wrestling, folks. And yeah, let's see if we can make a few good marks go to Wembley.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do this. We'll see if we can make that happen. And in the meantime, we've been a few good marks, and we will see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
I really want a pack of cheese and onion.
You know what, mate? Fuck you.